Hello everybody, thank you so much for visiting Riders United YouTube channel, and in today's episode I would like to talk to you about the two different bikes from the Harley-Davidson lineup. The first one is the Heritage Softail and the other one is Road King. So if you are wondering about those two bikes, or maybe you have hard time to decide which one is better, please stick around and I will show you what I got. Here we go. So if you are watching this video, I'm assuming that you probably would like to upgrade your bike or maybe buy the brand new bike, and you are probably wondering which bike is better. I have opportunity to ride both of those bikes for quite some time. I have about 20,000 miles on my Heritage. It was 2019 model, and in 2022 I purchased my Road King Special. Both of those bikes have a 114 inches engine, so I thought it will be important to kind of compare both of the platforms with the same engine, because yes, I would like to avoid any differences between 107 and 114. And after some of those miles, I noticed that there is a lot of similarities between those two bikes, but also a lot of the differences. So let me start with the similarities. I think that both of those bikes are really classic looking bikes. And yeah, when you think about them, you can remove the windshield from both of them. And I have to say the classic look of both of those models is undeniable. I mean, they are definitely classic looking bikes, and they are both really outstanding as far as looks. And I have to say, this is probably where the similarities kind of end, at least for me. And there was definitely more differences than the similarities. One of the main things that I noticed right after buying the Road King Special was how much heavier this bike is. So yes, there is probably about 100 pounds difference between those two bikes. And initially I thought, like, yeah, this is no big deal, 100 pounds is not that much. But I can tell you, after having this Road King Special for 2,000 miles, when I try to back up this motorcycle, this is heavy bike. So you have to definitely consider this fact when you are purchasing one or you would like to upgrade your bike. Because yes, if you are on the smaller size and you are not a really big and strong person, you have to really take that under consideration, because yeah, backing up this bike, especially uphill, is almost impossible. Right now, when I'm riding my Road King, I really try to plan ahead, and I try to plan like parking this bike more like a car. I try to like set it up in the position that it will allow me to just start it and kind of keep going. So this is one of the really significant differences between both of them. The next thing I would like to touch on is the braking system. So both bikes, Heritage 114 and the Road King, they have ABS, so they are the same in this manner, but the Road King have two brakes up front while Heritage have only one. But I will have to say the braking system of the Heritage was really appropriate for the weight of the Heritage, and since the Road King is a little bit heavier, yes, you definitely need a little bit more of the stopping power. And I think that both of those braking systems are appropriate. What I really like about the Road King, that you can get RDRS, which is this system that kind of supports the rider. So if you are paying attention of being a little bit more careful on your bike and a little bit safer, probably the Road King is a better option for you if this is a big concern for you. As far as power and transmission, I will have to say that if you are comparing bikes that have the same engine, 114 inches, I will say that advantage will go to Heritage, because the bike is a little bit lighter. So obviously you will have a better ratio of weight to power, but they are definitely enough of power for both of those bikes. I feel that the transmission of the Road King is better maybe geared toward the torque, because since the weight is higher, you will have to have a little bit higher torque. So they are both appropriate. I have to say On the highway, I enjoy Heritage a little bit better than the Road King because I have to rev the Road King slightly higher than my Heritage. Riding Heritage at about like 80 miles per hour, you will be about like 2500 RPMs, which was a blast. If I would like to go with the same speed on the Road King, I have to rev it up probably to like 3000 RPMs, which is not as nice as the Heritage. So yeah, that will be the difference as far as like the powertrain for both of those bikes, since they have the same engine. The next aspect that I would like to touch on is the suspension between both of those bikes. I have to say this advantage definitely goes toward Heritage. The Heritage suspension straight from the factory is 1000 times better than the one that is on the Road King model. If you bought the Road King, I will have to say, yes, you have to definitely spend some money on suspension because it's just horrible. That was one of my first impressions after I purchased the Road King. When I was riding home, I couldn't believe it, how bad it was comparing to the Heritage. I have to say that Harley did outstanding job with the Heritage. I didn't really have to do anything to the suspension besides adjusting it for my weight. With the Road King, no matter what I tried, there was just no way to adjust this rear shock, not to mention the fact that you have like different type of the shock on one side on the back and on the opposite side. So one is super hard, the other one is super soft. I did the Legend suspension upgrade to this bike almost immediately after purchasing it. And right now I will have to say, yes, I have a way more comfortable ride. But on the Softail, I didn't really have to do anything. So if you are considering buying the Road King, I will have to say you will probably have to spend like between $1,000 and $2,000 depending on upgrade on the rear or also on the front. So this is like a big strike for the Road King. This suspension is just horrible. So yeah, consider that. As far as storage, yes, this is a really obvious advantage that will go toward the Road King. And I have to say those saddlebags that are on the Road King from the factory, they are definitely more capable for the touring. So if you would like to pack like bunch of gear and kind of get the things on the road trip, yes, this is definitely a better option. Even though the Heritage still offered the saddlebags, I was constantly running out of the space. I have to buy the tour pack, and yes, I will have to say, as far as touring capacity for those luggage compartments, if you have regular saddlebags and you will also buy the tour pack for the Heritage, this bike is definitely capable of touring, and you can go like for quite some rides, like long rides, like multiple days, and you will be fine. I tour on the Heritage quite a bit. There was some trips that I took like 2,000-3,000 miles that I never have any problems with like packing enough stuff as soon as I will install the tour pack on this bike. With the Road King, I will have to say, yes, those saddlebags, especially on the Road King Special, since those are extended saddlebags that you can just put a little bit extra into them, this is definitely the advantage that will go toward the Road King. Long distance riding. This is another category that I see quite a few differences between both of those bikes. I have to say that Heritage is definitely the machine that you can tour on, and yes, this bike have no problem to go for like thousands and thousands of miles and be really comfortable. But as far as vibrations, I will have to say the Road King is definitely better because you will have a little bit less vibrations. So I have to say I never have the problem on the Heritage as far as like touring for multiple 100 miles a day, and I'm talking about the 300, 400, 500 miles a day. But at the end of the day, I will feel this vibration in my wrist a little bit, and yes, after I will sleep and I will wake up next day, I was able to do another like 500 miles, and it was really okay. But I have to say, after I purchased the Road King and riding at this highway speeds of like 80 miles an hour, there is almost no vibration. So I think that this engine that is mounted in the frame with this rubber mounting is definitely an advantage that you will definitely feel at the end of the day when you are riding quite a bit. As far as like traveling overall on this highway on those both of those bikes, I have to say that you can go probably about like 10, 15, 20 miles faster on the Road King, and you will be completely fine comparing to the Heritage. What I noticed that my marching speed during those trips was many times around like 80 miles an hour. I have to say on the Road King, if I install the windshield that I purchased right after I bought this bike, yeah, I was able to do like 85, 90 miles an hour, sometimes 95, not for a long period of time, obviously not to breaking the speed limit, but I have to say I feel the aspect of additional speed way less on the Road King that I will feel on the Heritage in the past. As far as lights, I will have to say this is probably a wash between both of those bikes. And the big part of it is the fact that the Road King Special have this new light up front that is quite big and is like really shooting a lot of light. But Heritage have this additional lights on the side. So I will have to say this is really kind of the same situation and the amount of the light that you will get out of those both of those bikes. So this is definitely kind of a wash for both of them. Handling is another aspect that I would like to compare for anybody like wondering about those two bikes. Initially, when I purchased my Road King, I was thinking, wow, this is heavier bike. It will be definitely heavier to handle. But to my surprise, I have to say that the Road King is really nimble bike. I mean, Heritage was really good, but I have to say, if I was like riding down the road and I will see like obstacle or like something on the road and I would like to kind of wave around it, I have to really like muscle this bike with my whole body quite a bit to kind of move it out of the straight line. With the Road King, I was pleasantly surprised to notice how nimble this bike is. There is obviously the big difference in the frame design for both of those bikes. So I think that the Harley engineers really designed this front neck that is holding the front suspension the proper way that allowed this bike to be really nimble. Especially if you don't have this huge fairings that the Street Glide or Road Glide will have. I think that this is really a big benefit of the Road King versus the Heritage. So I think that handling is a little bit better on the Road King. Even though the bike is heavier, I still think that it was easier to maneuver and kind of like change the direction on the bike. So yes, I think that in this case, it will go to the Road King. You can definitely buy more accessories for the Road King just because of the fact that they manufactured this bike for such a long period of time. I have to say I kind of ran out of the accessories when I was recording videos on my channel and for the Heritage model. So I did quite a few upgrades, and when I will look for something that I would like to install on my bike, sometimes I will notice like, yeah, that this is something that I cannot really buy. So in order to provide some kind of summary for this video, I will say both of those bikes are really outstanding. It just really depends what you would like to do with the bike that you want to purchase or upgrade. If you are somebody that is just riding around town and occasionally is touring for maybe like a few hundred miles in a day, I will say the Heritage is outstanding option. And if you would like to travel a little bit further and you spend more time on the highway going for like multi-hundred miles days, Road King will probably provide a little bit better comfort, and it will be probably a little bit better option for you just because of like less vibrations. If you are thinking about buying one or the other, I will have to say straight out of the factory, for me, hands down, Heritage is winning this battle. I spent about $3,000 right after purchasing the Road King in order to bring it to the comfort level that I have with the Heritage out of the factory. like Harley Davidson definitely nailed it with the Heritage. Outstanding bike, and just because I have the Road King, I don't want to say that the Road King is the best. The bikes are definitely designed for two different reasons. One is more for like around town with occasional touring, while the Road King is definitely more like of the touring bike that you can take around town as well. If you are willing to spend some extra money to update your Road King after the purchase, or maybe doing this in stages, I think that overall, at the end of the day, you might have better luck with the Road King. This is something that I would like to share with the viewers of my channel, because I get a lot of requests about this comparison between those two, but I didn't want to do this comparison right after I purchased the bike, because I have 20,000 miles on the Heritage, and I was feeling that it will be really unfair to the Road King to just describe this bike right after the purchase, because I would like to spend some time on the bike. And this was definitely my conclusion at the end. So I really hope that it will help somebody to make these decisions, because yes, it can be a really expensive mistake. As far as looks, both of those bikes are really looking really great, and I think that you can upgrade them the same way or really similar way to kind of like get the bike that you really want at the end. If you have any questions, please put the comment below, and I will be really happy to answer any questions that you might have on this video. And as always, I would like to say thank you so much for being here with me. If you didn't subscribe yet, please like and subscribe. You have the subscription icon on the right corner of your screen. And if by any chance you purchase one of those bikes, please check my channel, because I have a lot of videos on those two bikes, and every upgrade I did on my Heritage I documented on the channel. So yeah, there are some really neat upgrades for the Heritage that I documented, but I'm also doing that for the Road King right now, since this is the bike that I currently own. So yeah, this is everything that I have for you guys today. In case you would like to catch me on some of the social media, I will put the link below. And this is everything that I have for you today, and I will see you on the next one. So thank you so much, guys, for being here with me, and yes, I will see you next Friday. Bye bye.